Thank you for staying with us. The recent surge in violent attacks and killings in states like Plateau, Benue, and Edo has sparked widespread concern and outrage. These occurrences have led to a sense of fear and uncertainty, making it difficult for people to go about their daily activities without worrying about their safety. The impact of these killings extend beyond the immediate victims and their families, affecting entire communities and the nation as a whole. Nigeria's ongoing struggles with insecurity is believed to be caused by factors such as banditry, terrorism, and communal conflicts. Well, joining us for this conversation is the former head of media, Nigeria Immigration Service, and Interpol President Awadi James Sunday, ACG, retired. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great. Let's begin with some statements coming from persons who you might term security experts and other persons who have played in the sector. For instance, we'll talk about former Minister of Defense, that's Lieutenant General Theophilus Danjuma, retired, calling on persons to look at protecting themselves, that's self-defense, communities putting measures in place to addressing this matter, also saying that the government alone cannot handle these issues. And I am wondering if that's the state we have now come to and how we got to this point in the first place.
I will be very, very pragmatic with respect to the question you asked me. But I want to draw attention to the fact that Section 14, Subsection 2B of the Nigerian Constitution place the responsibility for the protection and welfare of citizens in the hand of the government, not in the hand of the citizens. So if there be any issue where citizens will have to come in, they will only need to support government by intercepting and not extending this support to extrajudicial killing, to mob justice, and an anarchical approach where individual lives will be taken by non-state actors who are not authorized by government.
Okay, so what you're saying, if I'm understanding you, is that the citizens cannot handle these matters themselves, because he's saying government cannot handle it alone. Are you also saying that perhaps government is on top of this matter despite the fact that they have a responsibility to addressing it, and yet we're still seeing killings and a lot of citizens are worried, but they are saying, oh, perhaps it's high time we need to start taking up measures to addressing these matters ourselves?
Maybe you didn't hear me very well. What I said is that the responsibility for the protection of life and welfare is vested on government based on our Constitution, Section 14, Subsection 2B, which is the grand norm. And the role of citizen is for support, not to carry out justice, as in jungle justice, extrajudicial killing, or mob justice, which has been the issue that has been under searchlight and debate for quite some time. The general is an elder statesman. I will not dispute his statement, but from my own angle, as a young veteran, I think the Constitution supersedes every other person's idea. And the support of citizens is very, very important, because the citizens have the right to support the security forces if they have the opportunity of intercepting and then handing them over to the appropriate authority, not carrying out jungle justice or mob justice or extrajudicial killing. That is what I'm saying. So for any perceivable reason, I think we must be precise when we are defining security. Security of life is not about the use of force or the use of unconventional means to extinct life, but it has to do with following due process And what is the due process? There are established authorities that have the right to arrest, to prosecute, and convict. But no citizen, as an individual or group, has the right to execute judgment on an individual whose life you cannot create, but you are supposed to protect. First and foremost, I want us to understand from various perspectives that we must understand the implication of what killing is. All the religion have it placed that thou shalt not kill. So if from a spiritual point of view or religious point of view, it is a crime or an abomination to kill a fellow human being, then there's no reason why we as human beings will put ourselves so low to the extent of extinguishing life or killing an individual or group without remorse. So we must be very, very careful when we are suggesting in the area of self-protection. No security operative, no veteran will suggest that people should just go on the street and be killing. Rather, I think there are others suggesting that they should support the security agencies by making sure that they do their own part, because security is everybody's business. If there is a criminal around your location and you are able to intercept the criminal and you hand over such a criminal to the appropriate security, you have done your own part. It's not left for them to execute what the law says they should, because they are the ones that are vested with such an authority. So we should limit ourselves to certain things, because where your own right ends, that's where my own starts.
All right, but I want to talk about government response to everything that has been happening. We've been speaking about Plateau, and then we saw Benue come in, and we see that every day we hear that, you know, someone has died, people have died. Now, my question is, we've had a lot of government officials come out and say that, oh, you know, we condemn this. We've even seen the governor go there crying and all of that. But a lot of Nigerians are saying that, are they doing enough? We are saying that we're hearing words, but we are not really seeing actions.
We must appreciate our security forces for what they are doing. If we have to be very frank to ourselves, for some of us that are beyond the field, it is only he that is wearing the shoe that knows where it pains. I want to be very, very precise with you. Between yesterday and this morning, how many of the analysts, people that are proposing certain things, have decided to sit and take note of the number of arrests that took place within just this festive period? Arrests at motor parks, arrests along expressway, like we have a report in Delta, where the Nigerian police force were able to carry out a sting operation along Abo-Asaba expressway, and they were able to arrest a ringleader of a kidnap gang. And substantive number of rifles and ammunition were intercepted. The same yesterday, 20th, being Sunday, the operatives of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps were able to, through credible intelligence, intercept an individual that was within a church facility at Bokos. And Bokos is part of the epicenter of the crisis we are talking of. So we'll have another occurrence of another killing, if not because of the credible intelligence that was deployed to the officials of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, and they intercepted such a person with arm within a church premises. You can imagine the kind of mayhem that will have taken place. Back to your statement, Plateau has been in the eye of the storm, but the security operatives are also on top of their assignment, because you can see that everybody has been around Plateau. From the top down, everybody has been going up and down to ensure that there is peace on the Plateau. But the bottom line is that we must understand that this aspect that will cause security is all about the citizens and the officials working together. So there shouldn't be any blame game. We should all take it as our responsibility to know that when you kill an individual, you have committed a crime as a citizen who doesn't have the right to do so.
That's right.
It is only the operatives under necessity, maybe under for self-defense or during operational assignment, that something may happen and then maybe somebody's life may go. Either the person that is to be arrested or sometimes even the operatives. It happens either way. But we should, on a very, very serious note, make available information to security operatives, because they don't stay within your community with you as much as you know the people that actually causing this mayhem. And sometimes some of these operations that leads to the killing of people are locally inclined. The locals know themselves, and they should be able, and that is where the issue of community policing comes in, but not in the pattern that we saw in Uromi. Vigilante coming to arrest individuals that are on transit, and then such kind of an extrajudicial killing took place. That is not the kind of community policing we are talking of. We are talking of community policing that has to do with community liaising with the established authority to make sure that things go well and that places are secured, there is safety and peace.
That's right.
Without which we will keep analyzing, we'll keep talking that things are not working, but we as citizens also have responsibility to do our own part.
Most definitely.
We should ensure that we make available credible information at the right time, because real-time information is very, very important. And right. At this juncture, I also want to put in this idea that we have been doing conventional and traditional approach to all our security issues. It's time for us to deploy technology. And technology must be advanced. Advanced in the sense that the whole world has moved from analog to digital. We have what is called the GPS. That's the global positioning system that can give you an exact location of a thing per time. We also have the geographic information system that can transfer the record of the information you have to the system that you have. The GPS is satellite-based, while the GIS is computer-based. So you analyze what the GPS was able to bring up to you, and then we'll be able to georeference to the spot. So for me, dictating where an individual is, knowing where an enemy is, knowing where obstacles are things that we can use technology to find out.
That's right.
So we must operate a definitive security approach now, definitive in nature, no longer an assumption and no longer by presumption.
So talking about, shoring up our intelligence architecture, if you look at, some skirmishes, some problems among ethnic groups that are meant to just be resolved through dialogue, some of them are resolved through the barrels of the guns. And this goes to show about the arms and actors, that are feeling this problem in Nigeria are due to, our porous borders, where they bring in light and proliferation of these light weapons through the northeast and northwest. So my question for you is that, given your own experience as with the Nigerian Immigration Service and your connection to Interpol, how do you think our borders are in terms of porosity in this country? Are we manning our borders enough to ensure that these arms and ammunition do not come into the country? What do we need to do as a country?
I'm happy you are asking me about the border, and you're also specific about the Northeast. I will be very specific with you that I just ended it all as the Assistant Controller General of Immigration in charge of the whole of the Northeast. Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Yobe, and even the Plateau. So I can authoritatively tell you, by virtue of my experience, that there is no border that is porous in this country. They are only unmanned space. Because there's no border where there are no officials, where there's no operatives. So when you say it's porous, it shows as if there are no people there and it is opened. So I want to dispute that fact of the porous border. I will only agree with the fact that there are certain unmanned space which we have not been able to cover and which technology is being deployed to cover for now. And back to your discussion. The issue of giving name to crime and criminality is not a standard worldwide. Crime doesn't know tribe, it doesn't know religion. So today, it is this person, tomorrow is another person. So let's define crime based on its name. Any issue that you do not give a definitive name, you cannot solve. That's why it's easy for a doctor to treat a case when they say this one is malaria or typhoid or whatever it is. But if it doesn't have a name, they will send you to a laboratory for what? For investigation. So our intelligence community must do very, very much of the laboratory work by getting credible intelligence and then deploying it real time. This will help a lot. And then the people in the community also should not hoard any information, because it's a crime for you to hoard an information and then when it happens, people start crying. So definitely we must work hand in hand together for us to be able to overcome this menace. I will suggest that our intelligence community will adopt the style used by the Interpol for their diffusion notices. When the Interpol have an issue of interest, they use what is called diffusion notices, and they are coded. We have red, we have blue, we have black, we have green, we have purple, we have silver, all for different kind of operation. And when such kind of system is used, even if the information that you want to get falls into your wrong hand, it cannot be decoded, because it is only the operative or the user at the receiving end that are supposed to know exactly what you are supposed to do. So I've done that for upward of 2 years between the year 2013 and 2014 as a supporting staff on the immigration desk. And I was instrumental also to the establishment of the I-247 link between immigration and the Interpol LCB in Abuja, because of the diverse input of our operational analysis and synthesis of issues sent to us, that we liaise with other agencies of government to get information and then send to the NCB for them to be able to act upon. And we had a very, very robust relationship, which the Immigration Service is still enjoying up to today. So I can authoritatively tell that I was the pioneer head of the Interpol desk immigration, and I can tell you that if we operate at international standard, we will get it right.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned the matter of community policing, but what perhaps government and other persons are looking at is the matter of state policing, and there are conversations around that now, and we hear from the papers this morning that the Senate or the legislature is looking at ensuring that they put legislation in place to ensure that that kicks off as quickly as possible to addressing the myriad of issues we have regarding security. From your perspective, is that a way to go? That's on the one hand. Speaking about technology, on the other hand, there are those who are raising concerns that these persons, talking about the terrorists, are carrying out their activities on social media, posting about their ideology and talking about it, having lives, and there are concerns that there might be implications, security implications regards to that as well.
On the issue of community policing, it's a welcome idea, but it must be standardized and regulated. So if the legislators are trying to put a bill out, they must liaise with the appropriate authority that will advise them on what to put in that will not jeopardize the security that we have in the country, because for community policing, it must operate from the state and local government level, where the state governor or the executive is supposed to be the chief security officer, and at the local government level, where the chairman of the local government is supposed to be the chief security officer. And they will be answerable to the CNC, who is the president and commander-in-chief. So whatever it is that we want to do about community policing, it must be standardized, it must be regulated, and individuals that are going to co-opt it must be trained and be shown and be told their limitation, so that there will not be extrajudicial killings, there will not be mob justice, and people will not take law into their hand in contrary to Section 14, subsection 2B of the Nigerian Constitution, which is the grand norm where we draw all the strength of what we do nationally.
Okay, so I want to speak about hope and the way forward. You know, we've spoken about it a lot of times, but most of the times we see that the more we speak about it, the more things continue to happen. We've spoken about technology, we've spoken about, you know, state policing and all of that, but not to put you on the spot. What is that one thing you say that must be done, you know, to restore peace and just give these people a sense of, you're not going to wake up one morning and hear that your people are killed, or you're not going to wake up one morning and see that your lives and properties have been gone? Not to put you on the spot once again, but what is that one, you know, pivotal thing you think the government needs to do? I know there's a lot that needs to be done, but what is just that one most important thing?
My one suggestion, way forward, is for us to give a specific name to crimes and criminality committed in the country. The issue of saying herdsmen, kidnappers, terrorists, armed robbers, by definition, terrorism is when you use a weapon of offense against an innocent person that doesn't have any means of resisting you. So, if somebody carry gun to kidnap, it's purely terrorism, because it's terrorizing. If the individuals that are kidnapped will tell you their experience, you will know how traumatizing it is, and you will know that it's actually terrorism. When people will draft individuals to the bush and be flogging them and keep them for the number of days that they feel like keeping them, that's terrorism. And when people also stop people on the road and collect all they have at gunpoint, it's terrorizing. So we should stop calling them bandits. We should stop giving respect to them. We should give them the appropriate name, and that is where the issue of rule of law comes up. An appropriate law that defines who they are must be in place, even by our legislators, so that when an individual falls within that category, there will not be any debate for it, and there will not be any issue of giving it a tribe or a religion, because security and criminality has no tribe or religion. It's a standard that must be followed and is definitive. So all the nations of the world where they are getting it right, they give it a definitive name, they give it a standard, and then by virtue of which everybody knows that if I commit this, this is what I'm going to get as a reward.
That's right.
So let's be very precise about the approach, because our strategic level of understanding what is happening has come to a level where we must define it. We must give it a definition in the standard of a doctor, so that we'll be able to address the underpinning issues that is actually raising its head hydra-headed and making everybody to look as if nothing is being done. But I can tell you convincingly that our security operatives and the forces are doing their best, because I've just, as a veteran, detached on retirement, I can tell you that we don't sleep when it comes to operation.
So in talking
our
about...
eyes are open.
Yeah. All right, thank you. So in talking about, you know...
and we are committed to the cause for which we are employed, and we are being paid with citizens' money.
Taxpayers'
so our salary comes from the citizens, and then so taxpayers' money, so we cannot afford to allow these same taxpayers to be going through what people assume, because an assumption. Right. So I don't think any security operative will be very comfortable to allow himself to be used.
Right, right. So because of our time, as a former head of media for key security agency, you understand the power of public messaging, especially in terms of, you know, either calming or inflaming tension. So I'm so curious about what your assessment has been for government agencies in terms of communicating these issues, the spate of killings to Nigerians. Have we failed in uniting Nigerians or uniting the nation in terms of our security messaging? What has been the tone, the frequency, the manner in which we communicate to them? Have we been doing it right?
In the past, all the agencies come under one umbrella called FOSRA, Forum of Security and Response Agencies. We have the defense headquarters, we have the Army, Navy, head of media, we have the Air Force, we have the police, we have the immigration, we have the DSS, we have the NEMA, and all the response agencies, the NSCDC, and the Nigerian Correctional Service, then it used to be the Nigerian Prison Service. We come under one umbrella called FOSRA, and we speak with one voice. When there's any event, we converge together, and one person speak on behalf of all of us because we are working for the same government. But now we have reached a stage in this dispensation where every agency wants to speak. And in the course of speaking, sometimes there is contrast and there is contradiction. So we must go back to the drawing board. We have very senior officials that we work with before, and the media, a person like the present DIG, Frank Umba, who was the head of Force PRO. We have people like General Enenche. We have a lot of very senior officers, Air Commodore Anas, and many of them who were, and the DSS head of director of information. We worked together under FOSRA. And it was relatively a very calm atmosphere because the information comes from the same source, and without any delusion,
we'll have to
and without
end
any
this
confusion.
conversation here now. We must thank you so much, former head of media, Nigeria Immigration Service and Interpol President Awadi James Sunday, ACJ retired. Time is not our friend, and we have to let this conversation go here now. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you very much, and happy Easter Monday.
Wishing you same.